Pop me up. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. Auric 51111 here, and we are going to see what, I guess, downloads or information that I was given this week. All right. I have to arrange my screen. I have quite a large, well, it's one of those nice curved ones, so I can kind of see what's going on, but I hope this is loud enough. Look at them. I have a really old desk. I mean, the desk is older than me. That's saying something. And it's, I'm just trying to find the best setup, and I don't think this is going to work. It's a beautiful desk, and I'm not going to modify it. So let's see what Spirit has. This came through on March 5th, and today is the 8th, so 3 days ago. And all right, so what this week started off with, since this was March, and I was aware of a lot of the really intense, I don't like using the words energies, but there's a lot of influence out there, frequency wise, that is affecting everybody's judgment and their thought processes. And I don't think they're really realizing that it's not just their thoughts that are influencing what they're thinking and saying. It's actually things that are out there, what some people consider to be out in space. I have a different take on it, and it's probably not any, it may or may not be something that people have heard before, but I'm kind of prefacing that because it was a really rough week at work, and if I had not known about the energetic influences that are out there, I would have had a lot more difficult time trying to manage that. We'll just leave it at that. It's you know, if you've had some verbal skirmishes, if you've had any kind of heightened emotions, if you've had some conflict, and I don't think it's going to diminish in the next 30 days because we do have the eclipses. I think the first one is on the 14th. I think it's a lunar eclipse. I'm trying to learn more about that, and I would like to be able to provide some support for that. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but learning a lot about it. So let's get to what I was given. Typically when I have a long drive to and from work, it's 40 minutes one way. So this came through at 5:55. I hadn't even gotten in the car yet. I was getting ready. On March 5th, look at all those fives, right? And I had more fives as yesterday. So if you guys are finding those synchronicities, please stop when you realize that there's a synchronicity, especially if it's numerical and it's repeating numbers. That stop, what was I just thinking about? What was going on around me? And then if you don't already know what these specific things mean, sometimes in detail, look it up, because it was really super helpful on the way home from work last night. All right. Let the adventure begin. So on March 5th at 5:55 p.m. on 2025, not everything that we perceive as nefarious, negative, or blocking is specifically targeting us. It may be that we are being asked by those looking out for our highest good for us to slow down and accept the circumstances. It's also in the universe reaching out to us to utilize that time more effectively. Hi, Angel Wings. Hey, sweetheart. Thanks for coming. But yeah, this is going to be kind of stressful for people that don't really have an awareness of what's been going on. It's going to be difficult, and this is where those of us who are more aware have to take that deep breath, or should be taking that deep breath, because you don't have to. You should be taking that deep breath and trying to support those individuals that are less aware, and having that compassion for ourselves if we don't react in a positive way, that we have compassion with ourselves first. And I think that's part of the self-care thing that needs to be happening. So moving on, that was like a short and sweet, because obviously I had to be like tickety-boo and out the door, right? So at 5:15 p.m., I was listening to two people talk about what they feel is the best thing for everyone to do. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do that. All right. So that automatically, maybe because it's my programming since I was a kid, as soon as somebody tells me I have to do it, that rebellious little imp comes out and says, please and no thank you. It's something to consider. It's not something you have to do, right? So the best thing for everyone to do is figure out what's best for them. And offering that caveat to things that people say is probably going to help each one of us individually out if we have a common goal. And that is the expansion and freedom. Because right now we are not free. I don't give a hoop and doody crap-a-doodle what anybody says. We are not free. We are not sovereign. We are under the big ass thumb of them. All right. Pardon me, I did a little sniff in there. All right. And I found it interesting that they were very condensed and had a lot of conviction. And I believe that is the heart of people, of telling somebody else, this is what you need. And it's not out of, malice. It's out of their perspective. And they may perceive it as that's what you need. And you're sitting there going, no. They were promoting the idea that everyone should make an effort to live off grid. So again, this is like an all-encompassing. So let's abandon society as a whole and read between the lines. For those of you who are not awake and aware, see you later. That is for some, but not for all. Because some of us feel like we are to be here for a bridge. For those people that are just trying to make it across that river of deception, that we're able to kind of hike it over into greater awareness. That was kind of weird, but okay. Okay. So definitely there are benefits to living that lifestyle off grid. There is good in the conversation. Yeah, free your mind, the rest will follow, 100%. Yeah, so living that lifestyle, there is no one's conviction that should dictate how anyone else should live their life. So there was good in the conversation because there was encouragement to live a healthy life with food, water, and air. And in addition to a healthy physical life, we also need to have a healthy thought life. So living a high vibe mental status. Don't think you can always be up here. It's going to be like a sine wave, if you know what that is. We can't sustain this up here all the time. And we are going to hit those low. This is about learning where our limits are. And when we get sent off, that we have the skills to be able to bring us back into center. So living this high vibe life is not practical for everyone, and it ties in with something that may be considered a dilemma. And it can be a conundrum. There's nothing that can solve my situation. So it's about managing where you're at. So the solution is that that life is not for everyone, and that may not be why we are here. Some of us are here for a different purpose, a different reason. And I know we like to have those compatriots, those comrades, those who are in sync with us, with our mind, but we also need to be open and compassionate to those who live a different lifestyle. And not everybody is able to do that either. So, all right. The one issue is that others might be convinced that the way you are living is wrong, or the way I am living is wrong, and their suggestion is right. Whether that means survival or not doesn't even come into play, because maybe you're not supposed to stay here. You know, we all have to base our decisions on our knowing. That's not always easy, because sometimes we're not sure about what we know, right? So the other thing that caught my attention during the conversation are the significant limitations being named as things out of our control. And this really was like, you know, it really hit home. Do not put limitations on your life. Think about it. Things like the weather or what happened as far as in a perceived timeline of thought. Think about that one. To my recollection, I do know a group of people that were able to, through their positive thought and manifestation process, manifest a change in weather for someone that needed a rainstorm. So the rainstorm was not forecast, and there was a huge wildfire coming toward that individual's home. They had reached out to the group, and they banded together and with creative visualization and manifested rain clouds, and it doused. This individual sent photographs to a friend of mine of them being drenched in water. There was no water in the forecast. There was no rain in the forecast. There were no drizzle in the forecast. This individual's home was saved by this group manifesting rain clouds that doused the fire before it hit the friend's home. This happened, I don't know if it was maybe in the last 2 years. It was through the group that Augie Nost and Nori Love have at Broadcast Team Alpha. I know he's got stuff up there that he posts, and you know, I've not been able to come into the group very often, but I get there when I can. But anyway, the idea is that we cannot place limits on ourselves. No limits. Let go of the expectations, but no limits. They are in the mind, those limits. And they come out as words based on our thoughts. And this is what we have a tendency to manifest, and sometimes that comes from our subconscious mind. Okay, so sometimes, and this is why I said sometimes. So where are those thoughts coming from? Where do our thoughts come from? And I don't think there's a blanket answer to that one either. I'm not a religious person, but do you believe that the spirit can manifest what many perceive as miracles? I'll put my hand up to that one. A wise man once said that if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you will move mountains. And I don't think that was necessarily a literal, could be. Little shake and bake might be going on. That the bake part is probably a volcano. I'll get to your comment in a second there, Angel Wings, my dear. Thoughts are physical things that reverberate within our physical vessel, that transcend time and space and all dimensions. Where our minds, this is a well-known saying, I believe, where our minds dwell, or you kind of know where I'm going with that, where our minds dwell, and if they dwell long enough, will manifest into this thing we call physical reality. I think that was it. Cool beans. All right. Angel said, I'm a bridge to a higher healing to bring in a connection to different realms within us. Yes, there are master healers being reduced slowly, but been increasing in the last few months. Exponential was just, I was just hit with that word, exponential. So, 2 times 4, 8, 16, 32. It's going to exponential. It's going to keep expanding. And that's why I like the word expanding as opposed to ascension. Ascension kind of speaks of going above. It's not above. It's expansion from without and from within. And it's multidimensional. And our limited, and we do have limited ability of conception for most to, I can feel it. I can feel what that means, but until you dwell on some of these things long enough, it ain't gonna mean dookie. It's just not, right? And it's gonna keep happening. The last few months, 100%, and it's gonna keep going. And don't be distracted. That just hit me too. Don't be distracted by what's in the news. Hold fast with your faith, not in other people, but within yourself. Dang. Maybe I am a registered minister, so I can go down that route. I got some spiritual advice for you there. All right. I'm being a little silly. Sorry about that. So I'm going to, and if you want to see how I did the shuffle, it was kind of rushed today. I had a 9 o'clock appointment, and it was just, and I got things happening after I'm done with this. It's like they're already texting me, telling me they're on the way. All right, so life is what it is, and I'm loving it. So I don't know who the unknown user is, and if you're somebody who is not going to identify yourself, you are not welcome here. Although, you know what? I heard trolls, dude, are good. Hey, boost the comments, baby. Just saying. Just putting that one out there. All right, and it's why I don't do a lot of lives. I like my recorded stuff, and I might pop in and out and kind of keep an eye on. Yeah, no, you're not in the Zoom meeting link at all. Just me. So let's close the camera here. And we'll switch over to the other camera, and I'm going to flip the microphone around, so it's going to take a second. And the camera's going to take a second to adjust, so it's going to be a little twitchy. All right. I'm going to try to adjust the microphone for my little face here. I appreciate you guys all being here. Thanks, Angel Wings. Okay, so these are the cards that came up. If you want to see the actual shuffle process that I did this morning, it was an abbreviated version thereof. It will be posted on Rumble. So what do we have today for us? It was more than what I thought. Yeah, we are moving on, baby. We are moving on. Oh my gosh. Does anybody know the Jeffersons, right? Moving on up. I think that'd be us. We're leaving those things that no longer serve us. And we're also leaving those things that no longer serve us as a collective. This is a card of awareness. He may or may not be taking anything with him. What does he have anything with him? I don't know, man. He's got like a pretty bulky looking. What does he have on his cloak? Just give me a second here to kind of. I don't know if those are polka dots or if they are like the little gecko things. You know what I'm saying? But he's moving on to a higher purpose. He's moving on to a higher level. Oh. Okay. Wow. All right, so anybody who knows me, I typically don't do reversals, but this was like I know one term, okay, gobsmacked. I mean, I'm not British. I have a heritage in there, but that's the phrase I was get gobsmacked. All right, so typically people look at the tower as negative, but I don't. It's an intuitive type thingy for me. And this is in reverse. And I don't read reverse, but that energy came because the image is reversed. I now see it as them getting above, rising above, improving their conditions. And there's all this fire below them. There's fire below them. And they're going, woohoo! You know, otherwise, I mean, this lady looks kind of frightened, but, you know, sometimes we can be frightened of the unknown. And the bottom of the tower, which is now the top, looks, I mean, that says expansion to me. So I think that's affirmation, thank you very much, of the concept of affirmation. And this says, I don't give a crap about what you think. This is what I think. Because back in the day, the black cat was, this is Queen of Wands, they kind of considered the black cat as a familiar, which they can be. They were not, at some point in our society, considered to be a good thing. You know, we all have that programming that tells us that black cats are not good, but I disagree. You can believe what you will, but my personal opinion is no. And one of the things the wands also have is, I mean, her gown does not have, oh yeah, it kind of does. It's hard to see, but it's like they're guarded against the fire. They're guarded against the heated discussions and the heated thoughts. I don't know. All right, so we know what we know when we know what we need to share in order to make this all happen, not just for ourselves, but for others. And I don't typically use this deck, and you would see in how I did the pulling the cards today for shuffling. Typically I shuffle all of them, but because I felt I was in a time crunch, I took a couple minutes and said, which deck do you want me to use? These guys are kind of off to the side, and it was like, okay. After I got over here, it was like, no, you need to go back to these. So that's kind of how that works for me. And 9 of Pentacles. Wow, wish fulfillment. So even though we have this leaving behind what no longer serves us is going to allow for this expansion, and we're going to have to not give a crap. We're going to have to do what we need to do. This is going to provide us with this, with the resources that we need. Oh my goodness. And it's going to provide a new financial system? I don't know. I mean, I've heard a little bit about it. I know a little bit about it, but not so much. But apparently there's going to be change in the money system. And it feels like that there are maybe, it's just like a new beginning, but it's not, there's nothing negative. I would have said that there's something negative in this if it had been maybe in reverse, but it was not. It's death to the old system and a rebirth for the new. And I think this needs to happen. I think we're in a process of watching the current system and systems being dismantled. Yeah, and this is what we're going to have to do. Ah, my favorite number. So I'll give you a look at that, and I'm going to move on to kind of feel into what she's got to say. Oh my goodness, the ship looks like it's on, I can't tell if it's no, it looks like it's like a crystal ball. And the ship of life is moving forward. And it is a balancing act. So we are going to have to make sure that we are prepared for what is coming. And this is learning how to balance all of these different aspects of life. Okay, so this is card 11, and I do have the book here, and I'm supposed to read card number 11. Let's have a see. Let's have a see. You are calm within no matter what the fluctuations of outer conditions. Bingo. Bingo. So with all of the shenanigans that are going on, we're going to have to make sure, if we want to get through this in a good, positive way, our own individual perception of what good means. And that's, to me, saying collective. It's not about each individual. This is a collective thing for us. Make a small donation. It's the right thing to do. Being generous attracts abundance. And maybe that's what this balancing act is all about, is about our balancing our own needs, internal and external. So that doesn't mean you have to give if you have not given to yourself first. Oh, yes. This came to me yesterday, and I said, man, I hope I can remember this. Bingo. Here's the trigger for it. This, not the balance card, but this generosity with balance. All right. Most everybody knows about the airplane scenario. And if the plane has issues where the oxygen masks drop, you are always meant to put your own on first and then assist those around you. This is what that's saying to me. Look after yourself. Consider your needs self. This does not mean overindulgence. This means having a healthy balance between your needs and what you might see as someone else's. Always look after yourself first. Always put that oxygen mask on first. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to help anybody. Pay your own bills. Take care of your own mental health first before you try to indulge in helping someone else. And think ahead. Think ahead. A golden egg of opportunity falls into your lap. And this is financial. This is financial. This is geographical. So this is like a cosmic egg. For me, this is like a cosmic egg that is on its way to all of us. Whether it's a new position, promotion, or whether we move to a different place. Even doing something like an opportunity that is provided to us, the universe asks us to reconcile that with the balance and make the decision as to whether or not it suits our needs. So here's the flip side to that. Once we make that decision, there might be something contractual and maybe something to help us maintain that. We might have to do a lot of paperwork that's involved. And we're going to have to stick to our decisions. So choose wisely. All right, I may have to cover some of these cards up because some of them have some, like nakedness. But this one doesn't. And this is to avoid. When we're doing all of these things, there is some mystery involved. And we're going to see an end coming to a lot of the more challenging aspects of life. And this is telling us, even though we might feel weary, do not give up. Stick to your decisions. Stay put with your decisions. Don't waver. Don't waffle. Yeah, we're going to start feeling weary. Don't go there. Stay put. Remember the balancing act. There's new beginnings. These aren't always comfortable. That's why I say this lady is she doesn't look too happy about it. Of course, it's in reverse, but that's the whole point of the imagery. Yeah, I need quite a large stone. I might even need 2 stones for this lady. Okay, I have a handbag. This handbag's going to cover it. All right, so what this is going to eventuate in is completion and looking for assistance. I don't want to, it's not above, it's in the ether. It's in the ether. That's where we find solutions to our challenges. Just trying to maintain her modesty. All right. And I know in the traditional, this is a Queen of Swords. So I know in the traditional one, there is the Queen is sitting basically in the same posture, but she has clouds. And I know I've heard other readers talk about how they're clouds. She's seeing clearly for the first time. I feel like if I was to receive this card from this deck, that's kind of the message that it would behold. But there's also a rainbow at her feet. So she has all the resources that she needs from an earthly plane. But the swords are representative of thoughts and words. And she's making an offer, but her sword is ready. So don't mess with us. We need to make sure we have everything in alignment, that we know who we are and what we are. Anything else? Nope. All right, so I am going to swing the microphone back around with me and kind of bring it home, because like I said, I got peeps coming over today, y'all. And we're just going to be switching the camera over. Alrighty. So again, if you want to connect and you need some support or help with that, do drop me an email. I will have all of my contact details below. I do have open appointments for part of March. Don't know about April yet, but definitely for March. So yeah, the troll left. They retracted their messages because they realized it's like, hey, go for it, troll. I like that. Boost it, baby. All right. So again, I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Angel Wings, thank you so much for stopping by. And everybody